All right. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to week 3 preseason action live here on the Louie T Network. We're taking a look at the second half of Titans at Steelers. Get you up to speed quickly. Titans received the second half kickoff. There's still a number of Steeler starters on the field. So remember we talked about in the first half potentially seeing some of these guys out here because Ben Roethlisberger talked about them seeing extensive action. And speaking of which, one of those starters, Cam Hayward, we just talked about how he was very underrated, beat the guard again, this time resulting in a sack of Blaine Gabbert, and that's going to stop this Titans opening drive. This guy is so good for so many different reasons. But Anthony Chickillo, Cam Hayward, Bud Dupree, all of those guys were still out there. Sean Davis, a lot of those guys were still on the football field to start the second half. And is that Quandre Henderson? Yeah, okay. So Quandre Henderson back to field the punt for the Steelers, and he's an intriguing guy. He wasn't drafted out of Pitt, but, excuse me, this is a guy here that I think a lot of people feel in that organization he can do some things. And I look at him, and I think he could fit that the role of the Louisville receiver that you used to have, the little small slot guy. Can't remember his name at this very moment. But I think he can fit that role pretty well. Eli, and some of those other guys you've had that have been really small. He can fit that role, jet sweep type of guy. That's how they use them a lot at Pitt. So I'll be anxious to see if he gets some opportunities in his second half and what he does with them. But the big news out of the first half was Titans second round pick, Harold Landry. The reason we didn't see much of him in the first half is because he sustained an ankle injury. Doesn't appear to be serious, but enough for him to leave the field. And he's questionable to return. It's the preseason, so questionable to return is just a nice way of saying his ass is done for the day. But in any event, I was anxious to really see what he had to offer, and did he look as explosive as he did at BC? And not going to really get that chance to see that tonight, as he is done for the day with an ankle injury. But anyway, 10-0, Steelers up. We're in the third quarter. And like I said, we're going to monitor the amount of people watching. What up? And if it's not enough by the end of the third quarter, then we will get out of here, and I will prepare for the nightcap of Saints at Chargers, and that's how we'll wrap tonight's action and the day's action up. Really, I've been live all day long. Started with the Bears and Chiefs. We moved on to this game now, Titans Steelers, and the nightcap will be on CBS. Tony Romo and most likely Jim Nantz doing that call as they prepare to get ready for their NFL season on CBS. And we get Mason Rudolph now, which I was really looking forward to. So see what Mason Rudolph looks like. And see what happens. They go with a run play here. And so Jalen Samuels, the rookie runner out of NC State, a guy that I really liked and I was extremely high on coming out of NC State. I talked about him being one of my most underrated players in this draft because of his versatility. And he gets his first carry of the day, and he rumbles for about a good 18 yards, man. This guy can play football. And the beauty of what he brings to the table is he's not just a running back. He's a guy that you can split out and start him in the backfield, and you can kind of decipher what coverages teams are playing by motioning this guy, because he was a hell of a receiver at NC State. Dump it down to him, Mason, and let Jalen do something with it, and that's what he just did. Don't stand back there all damn day. Get something. And he just dumped it down to Samuels, and he ended up getting a gain of about 4. 4, maybe 5 at most. So that's what Samuels brings to the table. A guy that can catch it. I mean, this man had 70-some-odd catches at NC State last year to go along with 70-some-odd rushes at NC State last year. I mean, he was a jack of all trades for them. They would split him out. They would put him in the slot. They would hand it to him out of the backfield. You name it, they did it with him at NC State, and he responded well. So another handoff to Samuels. He gets to the outside, got Roosevelt Nix as a blocker, uses that block well, and picks up about a gain of 8. I think he might be half a yard short of the first down. But that's a good run, man. Was very patient there, allowed blocks to develop, stayed behind Roosevelt Nix, allowed him to deliver the block and then cut off of it. I think he's going to end up being short. Let's see where they marked this football at. I thought he was about a half yard short. Yep, that's what they did. They marked him about a half yard short. And we'll see now. They got a I formation here with 2 tight ends and 2 backs. So he's dotting the I as Jalen Samuels. This is going to be a run play. And they hand it to him. And he got the first down easily and then some. Picks up a gain of about, let's call it 4 on 3rd and 1 to move the sticks. And look, man, I haven't watched the Steelers all preseason long, really. I know they had a shootout with Green Bay last week. But just in the small sample size I've seen, having being that he's a draft pick and watching what I'm watching now, hard to believe that this guy isn't going to make the final 53-man roster. I mean, obviously, you know you got Bell and Connor, but after those two, who do you really have in the backfield? I think it's a foregone conclusion that Jalen Samuels is going to be one of the guys on. And his versatility fits in line with what the Steelers like out of their backs. Guys that can do multiple things, catch it, run it, block, do a little bit of everything. So I want to see Mason Rudolph throw it a little bit, though, too. I mean, he's just been turning around and handing it off. So all right, Mason Rudolph in the shotgun to throw. Has plenty of space, and he dumps it down to Jalen Samuel, who looks like he's got enough for it. Still his first down. I think he's got 11 there. And look, Samuel right over the middle, makes himself an available target. No one there, dumps it down. You know, and I like that out of Mason Rudolph. The thing you want to do to pick up yards with a back is you want to get it to that back immediately. If you don't like what you see down the field, immediately check it down to the back, because those linebackers are dropping and giving that back space. If you wait too long, they're going to collapse on that back. He's not going to get as many yards as you can possibly get. So you need to get it to that guy immediately, and that's what they did there, and that's a great play and an excellent pickup and a first down. So they turn around and hand it to Samuels again. He's been a busy man. Every single touch on this drive has been Jalen Samuels. It gets about a yard or 2 on that carry, but they're using the hell out of him, and I love it. 2nd and let's call it 9. He might have gotten 2, but I'm going to go with 1. They gave him 2. So 2nd and 8 as the Steelers are deep into Titans territory at the Titans 14-yard line right now. Methodical drive being put together, all on the shoulders of Jalen Samuels. Good job by Mason Rudolph to extend, and finally find the tight end McKeever for what will be a first down pending the flag. They got somebody for holding, so that's going to come back. So Okorafor, I remember I talked about him coming in the game earlier as a rookie at right tackle. Chooks got a 10-yard holding penalty there, and yeah, he definitely held. It was soft, but it was a hold nonetheless, and that's going to cost the Steelers 10 yards. And what would have been 1st and goal from about the 2 now turns into 2nd and 18 from the 24. All right, play action fake. Mason Rudolph with all kinds of time. Steps, climbs the pocket, then finds Roosevelt Nix. Nice throw and nice progression climbing up the pocket there by Mason Rudolph. Nice throw to Roosevelt Nix, who gets up the field and gets 11. So that takes that second and 18, turns it into a 3rd and 7, which is a lot more workable. Nice job by Mason Rudolph, just kind of manipulating the pocket, moving up, then sliding to his left, and creating more time for himself, and then finding Nix. That's a nice little play there. All right, so, and they give him 12 on that play. So 2nd and 18 turns into 3rd and 6 from the Titans' 12-yard line. Let's see what happens here. They're gonna get the Steelers for a false start. Come on, guys. Can't have these kinds of mistakes. Delay a game, as a matter of fact. That's even worse than a false start. So that's going to take that all of a sudden manageable 3rd and 6 to a 3rd and long at 3rd and 11. I don't see the Steelers picking this up. They're probably going to have to settle for a Chris Boswell field goal now. Let's see what Mason Rudolph is made of. 3rd and obvious passing situation. Titans understand it's an obvious passing situation. They're going to pin their ears back and come. Let's see what he's able to do. Pause. He dumps it down to Jalen Samuels on almost a screenplay. Samuels makes 2 guys miss, 3 guys miss into the end zone, but it's coming back. They caught holding at the 2-yard line. So while it was a great play by Jalen Samuels to catch it underneath, zig and zag, make 2 guys miss, finally make a final defender miss at the 2 and dive in, they're going to get one of these Steelers for a holding penalty at the 2-yard line. Number 16. Who is that? Marcus Tucker is the receiver down the field. Had no business holding in that situation. His block wasn't even really needed at that point. He could have let his guy go, and Samuels would have either gotten in the end zone still, or he would have been down at the 1-yard line. Either way, much better than 1st and goal from the 12, because they're going to call that back from the spot of the penalty. So that was enough for the 1st down. But now they're back to the 13. They called it at the 3, so back to the 13-yard line. So now it's 3rd and 7. Mason Rudolph scrambles out of the pocket, showing a little bit of mobility, and he's going to die for the 1st down. Look at Mason Rudolph with some wheels, but another penalty flag. Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Steelers are killing themselves down here. First, a holding penalty on Chuck's Okorafor. Then a holding penalty on the receiver down the field. Now a holding penalty on one of the guards, number 64. They are killing themselves. So now what was going to be 1st and goal at the 2. Then what was going to be a touchdown. Now that it was going to be another 1st down after the Mason Rudolph scramble is now 3rd and 17 from the Titans' 23-yard line. And they just are going to try to throw a screen. And they do to Samuels. Told you he's been the busy man on this drive. He gets about a good 12, but obviously not enough for the 1st down, and they're going to have to settle for a field goal. So great drive for Jalen Samuels, though. So Boswell going to attempt what probably amounts to a 33-yard field goal. Let's see what they spotted as. But they were at the 15, so I'm thinking it's got to be a 33-yarder. And it's good. And it was 33 yards. So Steelers extend the lead to 13 to Love. As we are now, probably halfway through the 3rd quarter. Yeah, 5:18 remaining in the 3rd quarter. No comments thus far. If you're out there and you want to comment, use the hashtag LouieTLive. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the Louie T Network if you haven't already done so. And let me continue to give you some of the upcoming events on this channel for the upcoming week. So I'll run through it quickly since we're here and we have an opportunity to talk about it with no comments. So this week, upcoming on the channel, don't forget tonight, still got one more live breakdown, Saints at Chargers. We'll go live for that game at 8 p.m. on CBS. We'll be watching that one live together. Then you have on Monday, we'll do it again tomorrow as well, 4:30. We got Bills and Bengals. Remember, Josh Allen getting his first start for the Bills in the all-important third preseason game. So obviously everyone's excited to see what this guy can bring to the table in that situation. But then you also have Cowboys and Cardinals as the nightcap for the Week 3 preseason contest. So that's all going to be live on the Louie T Network. I may go live on the Cowboys game. I may not. I'll decide that. Going live for sure during Bengals and Bills. Then you go to Monday, AFC South and NFC South season predictions. AFC South at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday at 7. And the NFC South is going to be on Monday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then you get to the NFC North and AFC North on Tuesday. NFC North at 7 p. Eastern Standard Time. AFC North at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday night. Then you go to Wednesday, where we wrap these season previews up. NFC West at 8 p.m. to give those West Coasters a time to get a little chance to get home. So we'll start that at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, and at 10 that same night, Wednesday night, Eastern Standard Time, the AFC West to conclude the season previews and predictions for 2018 and the upcoming season. So back to live action. Steelers kick off to the Titans. We're probably going to get a little holding. I saw a block in the back. They could call either one. Both make sense. And so we'll see what they decide to call. Either way, the Titans are going to go backwards after a return that looked like it was going to be out to about the 24. So they're gonna be back deep in their own territory when it's all said and done. Falcons Fury says, you checking out the Jags-Falcons game? No, it's not going to be on live television, so I won't be watching that one live with you guys because, like I said, it's not one of the games that's going to be on TV telecast nationally. So I'm only doing the games that are nationally televised here. So Steelers up 13-0 right now. Titans with the football deep in their own territory at their own 5-yard line after the penalty on the kickoff. So Blaine Gabbert back on the field at his own 5-yard line, 1st and 10. See, I'm assuming these are going to be 2 runs here. And the first play is a run. And to Fuellen, who gets about a good gain of 3, maybe 4, depending on where they spot him. Yet another penalty. This third quarter has been filled with penalties. Good gracious. See what this one is about. Holding on the Titans. They're going to take the penalty. Half the distance to the goal, which will put them at the 2.5-yard line. And they're running out of real estate. So 2.5-yard line now. And it's 1st and 12.5 basically now. And I'm assuming you're going to get another turnaround and handoff run to Fuellen again, because, again, I don't think they want Blaine Gabbert throwing from inside of his own end zone. But they go fake, throw it over the middle, and almost intercepted. Off the hand of Taywan Taylor, and then a Steelers defender got his fingertips on the football, but it falls incomplete. So this is definitely a run on 2nd down now. They're definitely not going to to do this again. And Jordan Dangerfield came diving in at the last second, but he wasn't going to pick that off. Cody Sensabaugh was right there on the coverage, the ex-Tennessee Titan, trying to get involved. And so now, 2nd and 12. And then the Steelers call a timeout. So this third quarter has been mucked up by penalties and now a timeout. Dark Sealer 1995 says, Mike Vick winked at Rudolph after that run. Hey, Rudolph was over there showing off the wheels, man. Falcons Fury says, hey, Lou, it sounds like Dan Quinn is holding out a lot of our proven starters tonight. I don't mind. I think it's a good opportunity to get some of our younger dudes reps against a good team. We'll see. A lot of teams didn't utilize this third preseason game that we're accustomed to seeing. Again, we talked about it earlier with the Bears and them just basically resting all of their starters on both sides of the football. The Redskins actually played their starters a considerable amount of time, considering what I've seen from some teams over this week. You know, you got certain teams like the Packers aren't playing Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers played basically the entire first half last week versus the Steelers. So he got his work in, but you want to get your work as close to the season as possible. So that's why the third preseason game is the one that's the most ideal. But you know, some teams have decided that, you know, keeping their guys healthy is the most important thing, which it is at the end of the day. But there's something to be said about, you know, getting into a rhythm. And I've talked about, we've seen several instances here in this game itself, why it is important to have preseason reps with your starters, because you're going to run into some situations where guys need this experience to make the mistakes that you hope that they don't make when the regular season gets here. Mariota and Corey Davis not on the same page on a route that could have easily been a chunk play, possibly even a touchdown, and the two weren't on the same page. That's what the preseason is for. Those types of plays, those types of mistakes, so that you can correct them before the regular season gets here. All right, Steelers, Titans, back on. See what we get. Remember, we left off 2nd and 12. Titans backed up on their own 2.5-yard line. And it's going to be 1st and 12, I should say, because the first down did not count. Well, 2nd and 12 because he tried a slant over the middle. Now they run it with Fuellen, who barely gets back to the 2-yard line. And this might even be a yard loss here. You got Fort, Alu and company swarming into the backfield. So now you got a 3rd and 13. Yeah, they lost a 4 yard from the 2.5 to the 1.5. And if you're the Titans, the safest play you got in your playbook, you run it here. Screen or draw, you pick, knock yourself out. But I can assure you, it won't be anything but one of those two plays. Screen or draw, you pick. And they throw a hitch, so I was wrong. But it was a quick play out of the hands of Blaine Gabbert and into the hands of Taywan Taylor. He gets about a gain of 6, maybe 7. Going to obviously have to punt as it's 4th and about 5 or 6. So now the Steelers should get tremendous field position because the punter is going to be punting well into his own end zone. So the Steelers should get this one somewhere around midfield or close to it. All right, Condrey Henderson fields it at his own 38, makes 2 guys miss, 3 guys miss, and then gets out to the 46-yard line of the Steelers. So they're close to midfield, 4 yards away from midfield. We're at the 3-minute 38-second mark of the third quarter. We'll go to the end of the third quarter, and we'll get the hell out of Dodge and start preparing for the nightcap. Dark Schiller 1995 says, I want hey, go ahead, man. I appreciate that. just trying to help when I can and get up here. And I know everybody doesn't have the ability to watch some of these live games. They're not available in your area, or, you know, you don't have the NFL Network as one of your channels in your package, whatever the case may be. You know, everyone's trying to get into mid-season form, including myself. You know, it's a long season coming up for me as well with these live videos, and so I'm trying to get back into the swing of things with that. And I'm glad that you guys are along for the ride and able to help me kind of get the rust off and knock out any kinks that I may have my damn self. So appreciate y'all being along for this journey as we get to the late stages of this third quarter. Titans and Steelers. Steelers up 13-0. Let's recap this game while we're here quickly. Opening possession, Steelers have the football. They move it down the field, but couldn't convert on a 3rd and short. Ben Roethlisberger had some opportunities with some receivers. They weren't able to convert, and they had to punt the football. The Titans then get the football themselves, get a couple of first downs, but unable to sustain the drive and ultimately have to punt. They had an opportunity on that drive with a wide open Corey Davis and Marcus Mariota and Corey Davis not on the same page. And so that resulted in an incomplete pass and a punt. So Steelers get the football back their second drive, and they then proceeded to move it right down the field, and a beautiful strike, 32-yard strike from Roethlisberger to Justin Hunter in the corner of the end zone, beating cornerback Adoree Jackson. And that gave the Steelers their only touchdown of the game, 7-0. We got a little bit more Roethlisberger after that touchdown drive, 2 more drives from Roethlisberger, resulting in 1 more field goal. Well, actually, that was it for Roethlisberger in terms of points. He did play for 2 more drives, but it didn't result in anything. And then the Steelers were able to pick off Mariota, the rookie Tremaine Edmonds, with the pick, setting up Landry Jones in great field position. And the offense themselves turned it back over as Landry Jones was picked off by one of the Titans linebackers. And so we finally got to see Quandre Henderson on the jet sweeps, which he was known for at Pitt. And he got a nice 14-yard gain. Then they handed it off to Jalen Samuels. He picked up an additional 12. And so now the Steelers are in business at the Titans' 32-yard line. They give it to Jalen Samuels again. This time he slips trying to make a cut and is going to be tackled for a loss of about 3, possibly 4. And Spillane was the Titan that got the interception off of Landry Jones, canceling out an opportunity for points for the Steelers. They would later get a field goal right before the half with the Steelers to make it 10-0 at the halftime break. And they scored another field goal on what we will dub the Jalen Samuels drive. After 18 million penalties by the Steelers, Chris Boswell comes on and tacks on another field goal to make it 13-0, which is where we are in the game right now. Not a lot of rushing yards for Derrick Henry, as he was relatively quiet on his 3 or 4 carries that he had in the game early on. And really not a lot of production for Marcus Mariota in the passing game either. And that's a big change from what we saw from the Titans the first 2 preseason games, where the first-team offense had only a few possessions but marched right up and down the field and were able to get in the end zone. Rudolph going deep, not even close. And that was a well-covered play anyway. He wasn't going to get anything out of that. And, the last 2 weeks, the Titans, first preseason game versus the Packers, the Titans had 1 possession with the first-team offense, marched it right down the field, couple of chunk plays, and boom, they were in the end zone. And Marcus Mariota was done. Yeah, last week, similar. Early in the game, Mariota takes his team down the field. This time they hit Taywan Taylor on a wide receiver screen, and he does the rest. And that was pretty much it. They had done what they needed to do. They got out of there. And this week, not the same kind of production. Chris Boswell tacks on another field goal, this time from 46 yards, as the Steelers extend the lead out to 16-0 as we approach the 1 minute mark of the third quarter. 1 minute and 4 seconds to be exact left in the third quarter. So see if there are any comments. Emperor Meat says you can find these games easily online. That's what I do because I'm not paying the NFL shit. Hashtag I'm not sorry. Hashtag Millen. I hear you, bro. I am not mad at you. Generally, you can find the highlights of these games on YouTube after they've been played. You could find somebody out there streaming these games live, most likely. And you can also find these games, the entirety of them, online probably tomorrow. Most of these games that are playing today, they'll be online in their entirety tomorrow on somebody's channel. And then the NFL Network, as we all know, will play these games all in their entirety for the most part. They might cut out a few plays for time constraint purposes, but you see what you need to see in these games on the NFL Network. And they'll have them going all week long up until Thursday when they get a new batch of games. So it's so many different ways. I feel you, bro. I feel you. You meant to put hashtag Millennial Squad. I was wondering what the hell Millen was. I wasn't going to ask. I was just like, oh, okay. That must mean something for free, I guess. I didn't know. Blaine Gabbert drops back and does what Blaine Gabbert does. Misses a wide open receiver. So holding on the Titans, so they going in reverse again. James Washington has been reported to have a abdominal injury. So Steelers with an injury, and so are the Titans leaving this game with an injury that, you know, bears mentioning. Neither seems serious. I don't know the severity of the ankle injury, you know, in terms of a grade sprain, 1, 2, or 3. For Harold Landry, their pass rusher out of BC. And I don't know the severity of the abdominal strain that was suffered by second-round pick James Washington. So both second-rounders for both teams sustained injuries in this game, and bears mentioning. So we'll see. So the Steelers, they just showed a chyron of what the Steelers have done in this game. And from a defensive standpoint, and they have dominated. 3 sacks, forced an interception, haven't given up a Titans first down since the first possession of the game. That was the possession where Mariota had Corey Davis open. And they haven't allowed the Titans past midfield in the entire game. So that is dominant right there. That is a dominant performance by the Steelers defensively, which was a necessity after giving up 51 last week to the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. Nice to see them bounce back as a collective group and stop what was a really hot preseason Titans offense. Down the seam, great throw and catch. Blaine Gabbert to what I think is a tight end here. Ferkster. And, yeah, that was a nice catch over the middle of the football field. Great throw by Gabbert in the seam, and that's going to do it for the end of the third quarter, and that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. We got one more game coming our way later on tonight. Saints at Chargers. We'll be live for that one at 8 on CBS. Tune in, and we'll watch that together and chop it up, all the while doing so. Appreciate you guys joining me throughout the course of the day. A lot of y'all have been with me all day long as we've been watching these games live, and I thank you for that. You make the experience a lot more enjoyable when you watch and you comment. So I appreciate that, and I'm your man Louie T signing off. Remember, we changing the game one live feed at a time. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie T Network. Like the video, share the video, all of that good stuff. I'm your man Louie T. See you next time. I'll be back a little bit later on. Have a good one.